Hello, friends, and welcome to the Happy Hour podcast with Jamie Ivey. I'm your host, and I'm Jamie. And so I just want to say welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Last week, I posted my very first podcast, and today would be my second podcast. Today, I'm interviewing one of my friends. Her name is Jen Hatmaker. You probably know her. She's an author, a speaker. What else does she do? She just recently, her family was on, is going to be, it comes out in July, an HGTV reality show about their house. We had a lot of fun. We talked about our supper club that we're in together. We talked about grocery shopping. She shared a couple of favorite recipes with you. We talked about their new show coming out on HGTV in July. We also talked about my social media fast, which I'm here to tell you, as of today, I am on day 5 of fasting from social media. I have lots of good reasons that I've shared in the last podcast and in this podcast, and I'm sure that I'll continue to talk about it throughout the rest of the summer because it's that big of a deal. So I hope you enjoy it. I'd love it if you shared with your friends. I'd like to say a thank you to Kat Lee from Inspired to Action. She has endured many, many questions from me over the past 2 weeks about podcasting, and I will be sure I'll be asking a million more. I'd also like to say thank you to Carrie for commenting on the last post on my blog. And I'd like to just welcome you all here. I hope you enjoy it. The Happy Hour podcast is meant for you to feel like you're hanging out with a bunch of your girlfriends. So whether you're listening while you're folding laundry, driving to work, taking the kids to school, working out, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot, friends, and I'll see you next week.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, Jen, I was thinking this morning when I texted you and said, hey, will you podcast with me today? When did we meet for the first time? I know. I mean, it was before your kids came home for sure.
For sure.
Was it before my kids came home? They came home in 2010?
It had to have been.
I mean, it had to have been.
Wait a minute.
I think I went to a show somewhere in town and you were there.
This is a piece of information we need to figure out.
I know we should have figured this out before. I do remember when you were writing 7.
You do?
Well, because remember I mentioned to you the other day, this was before you were blogging, and you would put snippets up on Facebook.
Okay, wait, yes.
So I was trying to think, were we real life friends there, or did I just know you through ministry here in Austin and, that kind of thing? I can't remember.
Well, and you know what? I do remember. When did you go get Amos in Miami?
That was January of 2010.
Yeah, I watched all that.
Okay.
I was with you and cheering you on. So we must have met in 2009, okay. Right? We have so much crossover.
Oh,
we have so many of the same people, and this is our city, and we do church here.
I tell people all the time, Austin is a very eclectic city.
Right.
I love it so much.
Me too.
But I do feel like if you do church here, you know everybody that does church here, which is
right.
Weird.
Because no one does church here. I mean,
right. So we all 4 of us know each other.
Right. It's a real small circle of trust.
We all know each other. Oh my gosh, that's
so funny.
So funny.
That's why I was talking online last year about the citywide series we did last year, Believe God.
Yes, I saw that everywhere.
I mean, good grief. It was over 350 churches. I mean.
Here in Austin?
Presbyterians, Methodists, the Baptists, the non-denoms, everybody. And I remember thinking I loved it. And at the time, and I was just talking about how, all these 350 churches were doing the same 7 sermons in a row. But I forgot how rare that was until everybody else started piping in going, what the world?
Right.
We have never seen such unity in churches in one city. I'm like, we have to bond together. There's 12 of us.
We got to stick together.
So yeah, I mean, we're in the city together, and our little distinctions just don't matter as much here, but I forget that that's kind of rare.
It is rare. Okay, I have to take notice. No one else can see what I can see, but you're in your living room. I can see you because we're on Skype.
Can you?
And I have not seen your new house.
Wait. You have. You have.
I've
but
seen
not
it in
finished.
the making.
Yes.
For those of you that are listening and don't know, Jen and her family, I don't know how this happened. How did this happen?
Right? We keep asking that same question.
HGTV, right?
Right. We, HGTV came to us last year, and one of the executives up there has been a reader for some time and just said, hey, could we potentially develop a show with your family? And then we just died laughing. I mean, we just fell on the ground and died laughing.
Because here's the deal. Stop right here. The shows that people watch on TV with people's family, let's name them. Like John and Kate plus 8, disaster.
The Duggars.
The Duggars.
I don't even
bless it.
No,
I mean,
bless.
it's sweet.
Okay.
Like the Kardashians.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're talking disaster. Did that come into your mind?
like Bret Michaels.
Right.
Yeah, it came into my mind. Of course, the first thing I think of is, are they trying to turn us into like Honey Boo Boo? That was my first
No,
thing.
I love
like,
Honey Boo Boo.
Well, you know that we have those kind of people in our family. And so, I mean, Remy Hatmaker could just be a one-man show.
Oh my gosh.
So we vetted it real strong at the beginning and really thoroughly and exhaustively and sort of developed the show idea together. They didn't really they just said, what could we do together? And so we got to be a part of sort of forming the whole concept and what it would look like. And I got to I mean, now we're done with it. And so I can say it now on the other side of it. First of all, I can't wait for everybody to see it.
I can't wait
Second
either.
of all, it was so fun. This is the thing. We got to the end of it and went, that was so fun. We had a blast. We loved our people. We loved our crew. We love the network. They were just a delight to work with. And, we didn't spend time with anybody else more than we spent time with them for 5 solid months. They moved to Austin for the duration of the show, and they were here every day. They loved our kids and our kids loved them. It was just a really, really fun process almost all the time, except for being cold and living in a house that was under renovation. That part, boo.
I couldn't believe when I talked to you a couple times this winter, it doesn't get cold here in Texas except for like 5 days.
That's right.
But during those 5 days, you had no heat.
Well, and just recall what our winter was like this year. It was
like the
bad.
Worst ever.
It was, but we had ice. We had school closings.
I mean,
what are we, Minnesota?
Exactly.
I mean, what in the world?
And everyone here in Texas is just pissed. I mean, if it's ice, we're mad. We're like, dang it, we don't want ice.
Oh, we didn't have any. We had nothing to. We don't have coats.
No,
we were not equipped to deal with the cold winter, especially in a house with no heat. But anyway, it was really fun, and I think the show's going to be cute, and they are portraying us just kind of exactly how we are, which is straight comedy.
Have you seen?
But pieces.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I can't wait.
Oh, anyways, it was really, really, really fun. And Brandon and I said, I think I told you this. I can't remember if I told y'all this. I meant to. That like a surprising upside of the show, which you're not going to hear this from many couples on TV, is that it was so good for our marriage because we spent so much time together. Mm-hmm. I'm coming out of a season, as you know, of just unhealthy pace of life and no boundaries. And our family really took a hit for it. Our marriage definitely did. We were struggling last year. And Brandon always swoops in and says, I feel like the show was just the best thing that could have ever happened to us. We spent almost every day working together and laughing together and laughing with our crew. And I just sort of felt like we emerged, like we're back. We're back. Isn't that crazy?
I'm so glad.
Anyways.
I'm so glad. Okay, we didn't even do a proper introduction. I'm guessing that people that are listening to this know one of us. But if you don't know, Jen, what do? You travel, you speak, you write, you're an author?
Yeah, like all those things.
She's an author, a speaker, a reality TV star.
It's so dumb.
Mom to 5.
Yeah. Friend of Jamie Ivey.
Friends of mine. We're in a supper club together, which is a blast.
Like my favorite thing.
It's happening. It's been going on
We're in our 3rd year.
We're on our 3rd year, which is crazy.
And what we do, because everybody, do you get questions about this? Because I do.
I do a lot. So explain it, because it's a joy.
It's a joy. And it was your idea. It's your brainchild.
It was my brainchild. I take full credit for that, and I like taking credit for that.
You should. Jamie had these kind of unrelated friends. So we all knew the Iveys, and we knew the Navarros a little bit too, but didn't know, anyway.
Because they used to be here in Austin in ministry.
Yep,
Hello,
exactly.
They were the 4th ministry friend that we had. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And she just said, I think these 4 couples would all really, really like each other. And I mean, I can't believe we all said yes, but you just threw it out. Like, would you guys agree to like a supper club? We're going to do it once a month. And we're going to rotate houses and nobody knows each other. Like, I remember on our first supper club I couldn't get everybody's name straight. Like, that's how much we didn't know each other. And Melissa was pregnant, way pregnant.
Like, she could have birthed at the dinner.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, that started a fun little crowd.
I did not think that y'all would say yes. Not because I didn't think that y'all would want to hang out, but I just thought,
they don't have time.
You don't have the time or the bandwidth. Yeah. You newly had your kids home. Do you remember that?
That's right. Right.
We started
gosh.
in like October, and when did Ben come home?
August.
August. So
I remember those conversations.
That was fresh there, and our other friends in the aughts, they were in the process.
That's right.
And Melissa was about to have her fourth baby. So it was just a conglomerate of fun people. And I started it because I thought, what are some friends of ours that we love to hang out with, but we don't get to see that often, and we can do this once a month.
Totally.
It was so fun.
And you nailed it. And it's so much fun. What's fun about our supper club is a ton of things. But first of all, everybody's a foodie. Like when people ask me, give me supper club rules, I feel like this is important. Everyone needs to care about food. Yeah. Because we're not putting together spaghetti and meatballs.
Nope.
I mean, we eat like kings.
And if you do bring spaghetti meatballs to the table, you better have made that spaghetti by hand.
I mean, you need to have
cow for the meat.
Ground the lamb.
Yes.
I mean, don't mess. Don't bring us that. And so our supper club rules are, it's when it's your turn, it's your house. First of all, we don't start till 8. I know that seems late. Well, we have like 100,000 children between the four couples. Mm-hmm. So we put them to bed. And when it's your turn, you do all the cooking and all the cleaning. And to me, that's my favorite rule.
It's the best. It really is.
It's the best.
It is.
The rest of us can bring nothing. We can bring wine. That's the only thing we can bring. Mm-hmm. And so on those other 3, you just sit there and you just sit on a stool and you drink your wine. And you know what? Brad and Aaron always jump in and sous chef, no matter who's cooking.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, the food is delicious. The company is the best. We've shut it down before. I mean, we've seen 2 a.m. What are we in college?
Exactly. Those take like a 3 to 4 day recovery. I mean, it is crazy. And it's just, I love it because it's a safe place.
Totally.
It's super safe, and it's just hilarious.
Hilarious. And we just have we're about to take our second supper club vacation together.
That's true.
This summer, because it's so fun. Almost all of our kids have a match. I mean, we have a million. I think we have
like 8 second graders this year or something.
That's right.
I mean, it's an ungodly amount of the same age kids.
That's right. So, I mean, that means we don't have to hardly supervise. We can just be like, hey, work it out. There's a couple teenagers in the mix. They'll figure it out for you.
And we bring 18 iPads.
18
And we say, go for it.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
It's so fun. I always encourage people to do it. It really is a lot of fun.
So much.
And I wish we would have thought of this from the get-go. We could have a really, really awesome cookbook by now.
We keep saying that. And Melissa's documented every supper. We have pictures every meal and every supper club after all this time. So let's hang on to it, Jamie, because we're going to stick that in our hip pocket. Yes. And it's going to be a thing. I'm here to tell you.
You need to pitch this to HGTV because we could do a cooking show, Jen.
I know. I know we could.
The funny thing is,
hilarious.
In each family, there's like a cook. So you do all the cooking.
Yes.
And at my house, Aaron does all the cooking.
Yep.
So,
and Brad.
And Brad does all the cooking. And then I think Melissa does all the cooking.
She does. Although Nate's done some stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like Nate shares some of the duties, but there's one person who loves food the most in each marriage. And so you're so lucky. How did you figure out how to get a
Well, I am lucky, but let me tell you what's happening to my life this week. Okay. So this is where it bites me in the butt. Aaron's gone for 6 days. And do you know, I'm like, I miss you a lot when you're gone. But do you know what I miss the most? I have to feed these children every single night.
And I know what you're going to feed him because you say this every time he's out of town. Pasta.
And so we're all going to gain 15 pounds because we just eat pasta because I can boil some pasta. I now have a new easy thing, which is baked potatoes.
Oh, right. And then load it up with the stuff.
And I do that in the crock pot. Oh. And then we just kind of make your own little potato bar.
Dude, that's smart.
It's about all I can do.
You can do up some broccoli and dump the
do broccoli
cheesy broccoli on there.
I do it in the oven.
Yes.
And bake it. It's awesome. The other day on Facebook, you posted a easy recipe for moms. What was it? The bread, the sandwich.
Oh, that's what I do on grocery store day. You know when you go to the grocery store and then by the end of it you hate food?
And you hate your life and everything.
I don't want to cook. No. I just spent 2 hours doing groceries. So, I always do that on grocery store day where I get ciabatta bread from the bakery and store-bought pesto. And I go to the deli and have them slice me up whatever I want. Ham and salami and pastrami and cheese. They'll do it all. They'll slice your cheese.
They'll do everything.
Yes. And then layer it up. I always have some marinara in the freezer. I make it in
you do homemade and you save it up. That's awesome.
I portion it out and save it. And that's it. Layer it up, stick it in the like one big, huge sandwich, put it in the oven until it's all melty and delicious and crusty. And then that's it. And the kids love it as if I spent a whole lot of time on it. I'm like, you know what I just did? I made a sandwich.
Right.
So there you are.
But it's different.
Yes.
You know, it's different than a sandwich.
I know it. I just should make pasta.
Okay. Speaking of supper club, you told me something the other night that I haven't stopped thinking about.
What is it?
So I told you I was doing the social media fast.
I know.
I started today.
You did?
I've been putting it off. Every single day I say tomorrow.
Today's your day.
And yes, this weekend we went and floated down the river, a bunch of girlfriends, because that's what we do in Texas, is we just get in a tube and float down the river. And it was so fun. And what I noticed was that for 3 hours, you don't have your phone. You're in the river.
Yeah, I can't.
So for 3 hours, I wasn't ever looking down, checking something. I wasn't like taking an awesome picture to show everybody that I was floating. I wasn't tweeting, I love Green Texas. I mean, it was just nothing.
So good.
And I thought, this is awesome. And so the other night at Supper Club, when I was telling you about the social media fast, and you talked about, because you did this in 7, which is one of your books, 7, where you fasted from 7 different things. You can explain it later. But what did that older woman tell you? You told me this on Thursday, and I have not stopped thinking about it.
Right? So here we are in our little fancy generation with all of our fancy social media and all of our accounts. And
my gosh.
Our icon, what is it? The little picture called? The little picture by your name on all of our accounts.
Oh, yes.
Your little icon. Anyhow, so, we just feel so like, look at us. We are so self-evolved. We are going to bow out of social media because that's how awesome we are, and it's going to be so hard, but we're going to endure because we're overcomers.
We can do this.
We can do this. I mean,
I thought about that this morning. I wrote a post about it, and in the midst of it, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever written about.
Well, which goes into your point.
Yes.
When 7 came out, I was somewhere, I can't remember where I was, but an older lady, like a grandma, like our grandma,
right,
came up to me, and she had read 7, and she said, you know what you've described, right, with 7, like all of it? And I said, what is that? She's like, we in my generation just call that living. Like, that's just how we lived. We just ate food that was in season, and we just talked to people with our mouths. And there wasn't technology, and we didn't waste, and we didn't have there wasn't processed food, so that wasn't even a thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, here we are thinking,
look at me.
We're really going to do something different. And she was like, 40 years ago, that was called living your life.
Right.
And so what in the world, we're in a weird generation that has just, the change is like so monumental that we can't even remember that people used to just go into their garden and pull up some basil and eat it.
Exactly. And I know you were late to all these bandwagons.
I know.
But here it is. I remember when Facebook first came out for the college kids, you could only get it if you were in college. And I thought, that is so, I don't understand the point. And then when Twitter came out, I'm like, 140 characters, that's it? I don't get it. That's dumb.
Who's going to be on that? That's what I said.
Who's doing this?
I said that about email. I said,
this scratched me up.
I got my first email address in college. We had to have one
for your
campus address. And I remember saying, this is the dumbest waste of time in my life. Who's going to email me? No one even knows my email address.
Right.
Like, how would anyone even know what my email address is?
Exactly.
They're just, if they want me, they'll call me, like on my telephone plugged into the wall.
Right.
So we didn't have cell phones then either.
And now we talk about things and I'm like, that's such an email conversation. Like, we just need to email this. Why would I call you and tell you this? I just email you and then life goes on.
Or even better, text.
Text me. Don't call me.
Text me.
I can't answer my phone. Just text me.
I know.
It's the worst.
It's so true. And when I think about this all the time, it's kind of like your river revelation. I spend a lot of time at airports. Be jealous.
Right.
Anyways, I see at the airport, it's like a whole new world. I don't care what airport you are in, what country you're in there. You look around, every single person is on their phone.
Yeah.
It's all heads down at every gate. People are walking on their, I'm just like, this wasn't even a thing 10 years ago.
No way.
And it's like changed an entire culture. It's changed an entire generation.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. And I think we don't even know what will come of it. We don't know what the repercussions of this really are going to be and how it's going to affect us and our kids and relationships. I don't know, but it is strange. And hi, first in line.
Hello. I know. I told you.
Talk to me about your fast. Like,
well, I was on a walk. Well, this is where it all came from, is that Aaron, my husband, is in ministry and he's on a sabbatical right now, which is great. So on his sabbatical, he's completely off the grid from social media and he's loving it. And so since we have 2 people in our home with phones and all of a sudden you take one not looking at their phone all the time, mine is like heightened. Yeah. It's like he's trying to talk to me and I'm just like on my phone.
Dude.
And normally it would have been both of us.
Right.
So neither one of us would have cared. But now all of a sudden I'm the only one and I'm seeing it affect things. And so I said, I'm going to do this through the end of July. Okay. 11 weeks, people.
That's long.
Oh, yeah. I'm already regretting it. And I just pushed publish on that post like 20 minutes ago.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because you're a writer.
Exactly.
And your community is online. Mm-hmm. I mean, which it's not all a bad thing. That's not all negative. That's just, you've developed this really great
it is what it is.
community. So how are you going to navigate that without any social media? Or are you just going to kind of let it be on sabbatical too?
Well, I had to weigh those options, and I feel as though this is more important to me than that right now. Huh? So from like when I write a post, I can share it via Facebook without ever getting on Facebook.
Oh, I see.
And I can share it via Twitter without ever getting on Twitter.
I see.
I have those things set up. So it may look like I'm online, but I won't be. But you engage on those social medias with people that read your stuff. And so that's all going to stop. And I think for me, it was just like, I also was feeling like if someone talks about my writing online, I feel good.
Right.
And if someone doesn't, I wonder, wait, no one liked it? Yeah. And so I felt like this will be a good time for me to write.
That's good. That's
like
really good.
I'm not writing to see what someone says about it.
Yes.
I'm just going to write. And so I think that's also coming into this fast as well, which will be good.
We shall see. This is going to be good. You know what? 11 weeks is no joke. For 7, we did it for 4. And I really liked that month.
That's what
I did. I really liked it. I mean, I did have this constant feeling like I was missing out on some stuff.
Yes.
And I didn't like that, and that never went away.
Well, that's what I'm feeling like. How am I going to know if someone has their baby? If you get engaged?
That's how we get our news.
Hello, exactly.
The draft just happened.
Hello,
you know what I'm saying? I figured all that out on Facebook. Yeah. I suppose we could I don't know, watch the news. I don't really know how that works.
We'll have to read a paper. I don't know.
Not sure about that, but
read some news online.
But gosh, are you making your kid? Oh, your kids are too little.
Kids
They're not on social media
But you did it with your family.
We did, but we had no TV too. You're not going that crazy, are you?
No, it's just Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So a little jealous. Not jealous enough to do it, but jealous enough to think about it.
No worries. Yeah. It'll be good. It's weird to say that it will be challenging, but it will be. I told Aaron yesterday we were on a walk, which was amazing that we just went for a walk. I mean, hello.
Like how people used to live.
I don't even know what's happening in our life without Aaron working on Sundays.
Oh, that's nice.
But I told him, I was like, I feel like I don't even know how to be bored.
Oh my gosh, that's
if something stops, I pick up my phone.
Yep.
If I'm at a stoplight, I pick up my phone. If I'm waiting on a meeting, I pick up my phone. If anything's lull, I pick up a phone.
Dude, that is a strong observation. And I see that absolutely 100% in me too, but also my kids. I've got teenagers.
Yes.
So they absolutely have no idea how to be bored. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could take their phones and smash them against the wall. When we go to a restaurant and we're sitting around the table and I look at the tops of 3 different heads while they're on their phone, I'm like, give me those phones. We are for the love. I mean,
I know.
Oh, gosh.
It's something that we have to learn how to navigate because it is what it is, and it's 2014. So,
that's right.
I mean,
it's not going backwards.
It's not like, I don't think that this is not saying social media is bad. It's awesome. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
It spreads news. It spreads progress. It is great.
Agreed.
I just need a break.
But the boundaries, that we're going to have to figure out. Mm-hmm. And we don't have anybody to teach us what to do. No one's ever done this before.
Yeah.
We're new. Social media. What is social media? Would you say probably its biggest, probably groundswell has just really probably been in, would you say, the last 6 years?
I would say, I mean, I'm not saying I'm got my touch on what's new and hip, but that's when it's been for me.
Yeah, me too.
There was MySpace, but
that's right. I missed that. Yeah, I was, as you know, I'm behind. So MySpace like peaked and fell away before I even knew what was happening. This is going to be interesting to hear what you write about this at the end of it.
Yeah.
What you've learned and what you keep. Because I'll tell you, people always ask me, where are you now on 7?
Yeah.
And a ton of the stuff that we did in 7 stuck. That became permanent. This is just now what we do. This is now what we care about. This is now what we don't do. But media and technology, I'm backslid. That did not stick. And so I wonder if I needed longer, to sort of develop some new muscle memory. I'm not sure. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch you, see what you do.
Well, here's something that I would have put on Twitter had I still been on it. See, that's another thing. I'm like, I want to say something funny.
And you think in those little sound bites.
You do. You think, I'm going to put this on Facebook. I guess I'll just have to call my friends up and tell them. Now I'll just text everybody something funny.
Yeah, that's right. And just a few people.
Yeah, exactly. Aaron told me this yesterday. He said that Caden said to him, that's my oldest, he's 10. He said, Dad, did you know that butterflies mate in the air and caterpillars mate on land? And he said, what does it mean to mate, Dad?
Awesome.
Like he was telling him about them mating, and he said, what does that mean?
I don't actually know what that means.
I don't know what that
just
means.
Words.
So my question to you is, your youngest is Remy, and she's 8 or 9? 8. Have y'all talked about the talk?
We have talked around the talk with her. She is like innately curious, and so she's going to need to know sooner than others, sooner rather than later.
Is she the last one to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't love the talk. So I know I'm supposed to be more self-actualized than that. And like, we're going to be great communicators, and we do communicate, but I don't love it. Here's what I don't love. I would like to hear what Aaron said. I don't love the very initial talk. It's so embarrassing for the kids, and it's so awkward and clunky. Now, to me, like now that I have teens, it's easy to talk about sex because we're not talking about the mechanics of sex. We're talking about the repercussions of it and the emotional like underpinnings. And
do you have those conversations with?
Yeah, totally.
Gavin and Sydney. Okay.
Yep. And those to me come real easy and naturally. With that first, like, how is a baby made? I want to just slice my tongue out.
Yes.
I do not. I'm like, Brandon, take this one, please. Take it for the team.
Okay, so we do things a little different around here. Is we start really young.
Yes, I know about you.
So we have
with your books.
We have these books that we have been reading to our kids since they're like 5.
Yes.
And so it's awkward, but here's what I found is that when you're reading these things to a 5-year-old, it's awkward, believe me. It's more awkward for me though. They just take that and hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's using the words.
Right.
The P word, the V word, everything.
Yes.
And so, and there's pictures. I think I've shown you one of the pictures. I mean, it's awkward. Some people think it's not right, but you know what?
I do think it's right. And I think once you sort of ripped the scab off there that early,
yes,
it's fine. Cause then you've just worked that in from the beginning.
Yes.
It's harder when they're older.
And so, and then that just leads to like this random conversation about butterflies mating. I mean, Aaron just was telling him that it's the same thing as the other things we've talked about.
Good.
Crazy.
Nice. Well done.
I don't like it either. And I've actually had the conversation with all of my kids, boys too. Have you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And they hate it. Mm-hmm. They hate it. They wish they were dead when we're doing that. But I want them to know that mom can be, you can talk to mom about this too.
Yes, I agree.
Boys, you're not only stuck with your dad here on sex talks. I'm not, and we do our very best to act completely normal.
Yes.
Even if it's like a little bit of a tricky conversation. Right. And you know what? I'm also a big fan of, my big kids at least have some other great adults in their life that I trust and they trust. I'm like, whoever, your youth leaders, my friends, we all kind of mother each other's kids.
Which is the best.
It's the best. And so for me, as long as they have some trustworthy people in their life, I'm not going to take it personally if they don't want to come to me first.
That's good. And I'm not there yet because my oldest is 10.
Right.
But I'm going to really have to fight that because I worry that I will take it personally. But I have seen Aaron does a fabulous job of mentoring these 3 guys in his life. And one of them, he's been mentoring since he was like 16. Wow. And he's now, like 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so his parents have said all along, it is a joy to have someone that's telling our kid the same thing we're going to say.
Totally.
And there have been some times that he's gone to Aaron before his parents, and I'm like, oh gosh, and we're friends with them, and I'm thinking, I hope that they don't get mad, but they trust him.
Yep.
And they trust that we're all on the same team.
Absolutely. I think there's much to the village mentality when it comes to raising our kids. We hope that they're always comfortable enough to come to us. They know that no matter what they say, we're safe.
Yeah.
But the truth is, your parents are lame. Sometimes you don't want to be talking to your parents about this stuff.
Right.
That's okay too, because they're developing some independence. And so I know all the mentors in their life and I trust them so much. And so if they go out that route, super. They took one off my plate.
There you go.
And it'll eventually work its way back in.
They come back. We did.
They come back. Yep, totally.
I mean, I look back at my parents, and I would have never wanted to talk to my mom about this. But when I was 21, I did, and it was different.
Totally true. Good times.
Okay, so that's not what book I'm reading right now, but what are you reading?
We love to read. Reading.
We love to read.
I'm always rotating through. You and I have similar tastes. We love the memoir.
Love it.
And I always am rotating through some humor books too, because it helps keep my funny sharp.
Keep it normal.
I just like funny. Comedy is like a value to me. So I just read Jim Gaffigan's book, Dad is Fat.
Okay, someone told. Does he have another book?
I don't know if he does. That's a good question.
Okay,
this is the first book of his.
Someone told me about it. Someone told me about a book of his recently. Maybe that was it.
That's his newest. It is so funny. But we are huge Jim Gaffigan fans. Gavin and I, my 16-year-old, we listen to every Jim Gaffigan podcast. We took him to see Jim Gaffigan live for his 15th birthday. We love comedy. So that's one of my favorite funny books, and I think I've made my feelings about Tina Fey clear. I mean, I've probably read Bossy Pants 6 times.
Do you know that I have not read that book?
Jamie!
I know. The book I've read like that is Mindy Kaling's.
Oh, I read hers too.
Yeah, I read that last summer, but I still have not read Bossy Pants.
Okay,
that's a summer read. I need to take that with me to the beach, don't I?
Yes.
Because I need a beach read, and that would be a good one.
Oh, I just don't know if I can get over this. I mean, that needs to be, shoot that to the top of your list right now.
Okay. Done.
Bring it to the beach. It's so funny. You can't read it in public. You'll laugh out loud. My favorite, I love to read food memoirs. That's my favorite subset of memoirs. My favorite food memoir that I read, I read this probably a year or two ago, but I've read it several times since, is Blood, Bones, and Butter. Have you read that?
Weren't you reading a food memoir last summer when we were on vacation?
I'm always reading a food memoir.
I don't understand when you say food memoir. What do you mean by that?
It's like written by a chef.
Okay.
Or a culinary student.
Okay.
Or, it's somebody in the food industry, be it restaurant or whatever it is, and they kind of tell their story. And it's fascinating to me. My sister's a chef in New York.
Yes.
In the West Village. And plus I just love food. And so anyway, I'm telling you, Blood, Bones, and Butter, it's Gabrielle Hamilton.
Okay.
Oh, you would love her. All these are on my Kindle, or I would loan them to you. Because now Kindle.
You were reading one last year about, what is it called when the person goes in to review the food? A food?
Oh, yeah, Ruth Reichel. I think that's how you say her last name.
She was a food critic or something?
Yeah, she's a food critic in New York. And then moved to LA. I've read several of her books. Is there a better job in the world than eating at good restaurants? It was really fun to read her book because she was so well known, and everybody would play up to her when she came in that it took her book. I think it was it Tender at the Bone? I can't remember it, but went through all her disguises that she would wear when she'd go into restaurants. I mean,
hilarious.
It was really fascinating. Okay, of course I read David Sedaris's latest. Have you? Let's explore.
You're going to be mad at me again. You have told me about him 100 times, and I have not read one of his books.
I just don't know what to say right now.
I just finally read my first Anne Lamott book this year, which you've been telling me to read forever, and I read Bird by Bird, and it was, of course, everything and more.
And now I need to go back and read that again.
It's one that I said, I'm not a rereader. I do not reread books. Mm-hmm. I find that to be a waste of time. I find it to be, there's so many books to read. Why would you read one you've already read?
Oh,
that
tears.
does not make sense to me. Okay. But when I read Bird by Bird, I thought, I will come back and read this again.
Yes. Okay. Because it's so instructive. For those of you who are listening and don't know, Bird by Bird is a book for writers. But if you've ever read Anne Lamott, it's in her charming, weird way that she writes. And so it's not just like a instructional book on writing.
No,
it's just
not at all.
Oh, it's so inspiring. And she really helps you just get going. Like, just get going. Just start writing. It'll be terrible. Who cares? Just get started. Do you read
Go ahead.
What are you hearing? Rain?
No, I was going to read something from Anne Lamott for everybody, but I can't find my book. But go ahead.
Have you read any of the Bridget Jones books?
No, like the movie?
Yeah, they're so fun. Her latest one is Mad About the Boy, and it's just every bit as charming as you think it is. If you like the movies, you'll love them. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same character.
When do you do most of your reading?
Planes and airports.
Okay, which you spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, and I'm a super fast reader, like crazy fast.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I just put them down like it's my job.
I think I'm a normal reader. Like, I don't feel like, Aaron says he's a fast reader, and I read a lot in the summer. A summer.
Me too. When do you read at night?
No, I mean, I will read sometimes during the day. I try to use it as a discipline and tell myself that, because I used to think, well, when you're reading, you're just kind of not being lazy, but you just don't have anything else to do. But now I'm trying, as like someone who's trying to be a writer, I look at it differently, and I think you have to read. If you're putting out words, you have to be taking words in. And so for me now, I try to sit outside for like 30 minutes a day and read.
Oh, that's good. That is super good advice for whoever just heard her say that. Just being a reader makes you a better writer.
Yeah.
Taking in language and styles and words. And I learn a lot from good writers, just how they can turn a phrase and how they kind of lead the reader. What are you reading?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm reading, but I'm going to read this Anne Lamott quote for everybody.
Good. You found it.
Because I found it. Okay, so this is the very last, literally the last chapter, literally the last 3 pages.
Okay.
And she says this. Stay with me, people, real quick, okay? She says this. Even if only the people in your writing group read your memoirs or stories or novel, even if you only wrote your story so that one day your children would know what life was like when you were a child and you knew the name of every dog in town, still, to have written your version is an honorable thing to have done. Against all odds, you have put it down on paper so that it won't be lost. And who knows? Maybe what you've written will help others, will be a small part of the solution. You don't even have to know how or in what way, but if you are writing the clearest, truest words you can find and doing the best you can to understand and communicate, this will shine on paper like its own little lighthouses. Here's the best sentence in the whole book. She says this: lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining.
So good.
It gives me chills reading that. It really does, because she's just like, write your words.
Yeah. You're not responsible for what people do with it or how they receive it or what impact it makes. The only thing you're responsible for is writing your words.
Do you feel like that is true? Is that a struggle as an author?
Yes, only so much in that I know that you feel the same way. It's just that we want our words to matter so much.
Yeah.
And so that can overwhelm me. Sometimes thinking, oh, please don't let these words fall to the ground. Let them count. Let them mean something. Let them help someone. Let them move someone. But at the end of the day, I don't get to do that. That's not in my yard.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I can do is write the words. I love that. This is the kind of stuff Anne Lamott. You need to read more of her books.
I know.
Oh, gosh, that was really, really good.
Too.
That's a great quote. I want to write that on the wall in my office.
I love it so much.
I don't have an office, but if I had
in your brand
one,
new house, you don't have an office?
Well, it just
you're going to have one out in the.
I'm going to make one out of a shed.
Yeah.
But it's not yet.
It's okay. That'll be the best office though, because it's not in the house.
Oh my gosh, I might just live out there.
You literally will go to work.
I will go to work.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hardest for me to write because I'm sitting at the dining room table and there's dishes and the laundry's running and then something and so I'm just like, I need to go.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the only way I'm going to get it done. It's a ways away, but I'm about to write a new book and it's due in September. And so what that means, I tell Brandon, let me tell you what that means. That means this summer I have a job, like a real person, like a person who has a job.
Yes.
That's like what I am now. I have a real job. And so, and the kids are home, right?
So where do you go write?
Awesome. In the shed. I'm going to write in the
shed. That will happen this summer, the shed.
I told Brandon it needs to happen today.
Okay.
So, if we just slap up a window unit in the shed and I just sit on a little camp chair, at least it's out of the house. And so anyhow. Okay. One other series I want to mention before we move on that I love. I know I've talked to you about this series. It's Alan Bradley and he has all the Flavia DeLuce books. They are just the most charming, hilarious, interesting books you've ever read. His heroine in the book is an 11-year-old girl. And this is set in the 50s in England. And she has this, she's real ornery and just this wild child. And her mother is dead. And she's in this big old rich house. Anyway, this is too long of a thing. But she loves poisons. I am not selling it well. It's so cute.
And it's a series.
Yes, it's here. And she ends up solving these murders, in every book, from these weird backwards ways. And
it's like Party Boys a little bit.
I just gave the worst description of a book of my life. But here's what I want to tell you that I did. Did I tell you this before? Because I love his book so much. I think his most recent one just came out, Speaking from Among the Bones. And when I first found him, I found Alan Bradley, and he's old. He's in his 70s. And he just started writing Flavia books, in the last, couple of years. And I wrote him an email, and I was like, I am so mad at you.
That you just started?
That you just started writing these. Because how much more can you be expected to live?
Right.
You're only going to be able to write so many, and then you're going to die. And you could have been doing this for 50 years, and we could have had, a whole bookshelf of them. So that's probably one of the weirder emails I've ever sent in my life.
Did he email you back?
I can't remember. I was just thinking. I'm sure I got a response back. I have a sort of a memory, but I think it was kind of an auto response. But
it's fun to see that an author emailed an author, because people email you all the time, and so I'm like, oh, Jen Hatmaker is emailing her favorite author,
telling him, please don't die.
Please don't die on us
before you can write some more books. That's the weirdest thing I've ever done.
Do you buy books or just Kindle?
It depends. I like to read fiction on my Kindle because I read so fast and they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But when I have a book that I love the very most, I want to have the hard copy. So I have several books that I've bought on Kindle, and then I ordered the book, especially if it's spiritual, because I'm a person who writes in the margins and underlines and puts notes. And so in that case, I don't like the features on Kindle. Do you? It's too much. It's too clunky.
I used to, a couple years ago, or whenever it first came out, I was all Kindle. And then I'm like you, I write in books.
Yes.
Write them up, which I need to go buy me a bird by bird. Oh, this is my copy. I thought this was yours. No, this is mine because I wrote in it. I don't have your copy.
I gave my sister. Yeah.
But I like to write in books.
Yes.
And I write notes on the sides, everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
And plus, we like to loan books, me and you.
Yes.
And so that's a real bummer that all my most recent books are on my Kindle. I used to be like a library for people.
It's great.
And so now I can't really loan them out anymore. So anyhow, this is the world that we live in, is how it is. But
I still like books online.
I know, but I like to hold a book in my hands.
I have a friend that every time she gets a book, she puts her nose in it and smells it. Every time.
I do too.
Okay.
I do too. I have a friend that does the same thing.
That's so funny. I just finished Wild that your friend Jamie loaned me.
Yeah. It was good, wasn't it? Fascinating.
It was really good. I tell you what, I was ready for her to be done.
It gave you anxiety. It did me.
I was just ready. It's not that it was monotonous, because every day there was something new. I was just like, okay, get to the end.
Yeah.
You did it. But there's going to be a book out in the fall, but I recommend that book. It was really good. It's called Wild, and Cheryl Strayed, she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, which I didn't even know about.
Me neither.
It's just this long trail from Mexico to Canada.
I mean, why do people do? Does that seem fun to you? That seems like torture.
Absolutely not.
I told you guys when we had lunch that day and we exchanged 12 books among us, that I could not stop thinking for days about the state of her feet. She writes explicitly about how her feet were just shredded. And I just cannot quit thinking about it. And I'm like, I can't read this book anymore thinking about your shredded feet. Take care of your feet.
I mean,
it was very stressful.
I would have quit.
Yes.
I would have quit. In one point, I hope I'm not giving, in one point she loses a boot and walks in flip-flops. I just can't know.
Yeah, I know. I would have never started.
I would have started walking east and found me a town.
That's it.
Going east until I see somebody. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Are any of your kids readers? Real quick, and then we'll leave books.
Caleb and Sydney are my big readers. Remy shows promise.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, he is an awesome reader, and I know it's a huge redeeming factor. And so he reads these epic novels, and he reads all the series, the series that all boys like. And then he wants to talk about them. So, that makes me the happiest mother on earth.
Me too. I read all the Percy Jackson series just so I could talk to Caden about them.
Totally.
I would have never read those books.
Yep.
but we could talk about it together. And that was
Yes.
just like, I love this. I'll read whatever you're reading.
Totally.
If we can talk about it.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I do the same thing. It's so happy to have readers. Ben and Gavin, it's just going to be a no on reading. Remy might find it. She might find a thread. She'll put a stack of books and just start clicking through them. So
that's good.
I'm hanging on for that one.
Okay. So what are y'all watching on TV right now? Do y'all do American Idol?
You know, I do. I just can't quit it.
Do you do it as a family, or is this like an indulgent for you?
It's mainly me and Sydney.
Okay.
We're the last hanger-oners.
Okay. We haven't watched American Idol in years. I'm talking years. And we started this year, and we DVR it, and it's like a family thing. We made a bracket.
Isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's great.
You did not. You made a bracket?
Everyone
I don't know
picked
that.
who they thought would win.
Who did you pick?
Jenna. Gina. Not because I think she's amazing, because I think that's what the thing is. I think she could win it. Is she still there? We're a couple behind.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I absolutely agree. She's for sure.
We think Alex is the best.
Me too. We're the same. He's my
still
fave.
in?
Yep.
Okay. The last person we saw leave was Sam, so we don't know what's happened after that.
Okay. The top three are who the top three should be.
Alex.
Gina. Yep.
And the other boy.
Caleb.
Okay.
Yep. I feel like America got it right.
Thank you. And when I saw that Harry Connick Jr. was a judge, I mean, he's a handsome thing.
These are my favorite judges ever.
Oh, they do great.
I just love them together, and I just think they're fantastic. So we have Idol. Brandon and I are watching House of Cards.
We've heard about it. We haven't done it. It's on Netflix, right?
I don't really know. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fascinating. You know, you're looking behind the curtain of the presidency, and it's seedy and it's smarmy, and you're pretty sure that's how it really is.
And that makes you sick.
It makes you so sad. But Kevin Spacey is just the best.
Yes.
He is the best. So we're watching that a little bit. We've got a little bit of smut in that we are still watching, oh, dang it. I can't believe I'm going to admit this. Game of Thrones.
Okay. I've never seen it, but I have heard it's awesome. But I heard it's smutty too.
It can be smutty. There's times where just like avert your eyes.
Yes.
But the concept and the character, it's just so interesting. And there's nothing like it on TV. It's so interesting. And then my favorite comedy shows that I'll never miss, ever. I'll never miss them, are New Girl and the Mindy Project. Faves.
I've never seen either one of these. I know. Who am I? Are we friends?
I can't believe that. You love funny.
I know. But you know, the thing is, I don't watch a lot of TV. It's not my go-to. Now, I say that, but yet I will today or tonight when Aaron's out of town, I'll watch 3 episodes of Friday Night Lights because I'm behind. I'm just now doing this train of Friday Night Lights.
Oh, bless.
Which all my friends cannot believe I never watched this before.
That's in your wheelhouse.
It's exactly. I just started season 5 and I literally am addicted.
Totally. We watch that straight through.
Yeah.
Straight through.
Yeah.
You watch Scandal.
Oh, we love us some Scandal. Now this season, I was like not the biggest fan, but it's going to redeem itself, I'm sure. But do you watch Scandal?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we're Scandal fans.
Yeah, everybody is. That show like really hit. That's really all I have. You know what? I guess I'm not a huge TV watcher. We DVR a couple of shows.
We DVR everything. I guess so I watch nothing live.
I can't think of anything else we watch.
And we do TV this way. I don't know if y'all are like this. Like we DVR everything. Watching something live is just who does that. And then we'll binge. Like on a Saturday afternoon, we'll watch 3 American Idols with the kids or whatever, you know.
Yes. We binge too.
Go ahead.
No, go.
No, it's about the last thing I saw on Twitter today, since you know I'm off. It was my last thing.
Right.
They said that the median ages for Idol is 52.
What?
That it's gone up. Isn't that weird?
For a viewer?
Yeah.
I'm shocked by that.
I'm very shocked.
Because it seems like the way people vote, it skews to a young voter.
A teeny bopper thing.
Because they pick boys almost every time. It seems to me like a teenage girl. Because they pick kind of these grungy boys like Philip Phillips every time. That's almost always the winner.
Have you ever voted?
I voted. You know what? Isn't that sad that I'm not a voter and I'm a fan?
I've never voted either. So
we voted early in the seasons, but I just, you know what? I just can only go so far.
I know. I'm just.
But I'm so surprised by that. I would have definitely thought it would have been younger. What was I just going to tell you? I forgot.
Idol.
Just whatever. It wasn't important. It was, here we're talking about our shows. I mean,
Yes.
I was going to tell you this because you would love this with your boys. We binge watch, because we're late to it. Psych. Do you know what that is? It's like a funny, quirky little show on USA Network.
That my kids could watch?
Oh, totally. I mean,
Psych.
It's like,
okay.
It's these two partners that solve crimes, but it's really funny. And one of them's just, he pretends to be psychic, but he's really just intuitive. And so he can and they're hilarious, and the dialogue is hilarious. It's super G-rated.
Okay. I'm going to have to note this down.
Note it down. Psych. Or we'll watch it for 8 hours.
Because I love finding stuff that we can watch with our kids, that's not kids, like Jessie. We've seen every single one, and I can name the song.
Jessie.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessie.
Seems
Oh my
like
gosh.
a party every
Word.
Yes. And she's so cute, and it's funny, but I don't want to watch it.
Ugh.
So that's good. I'm going to note that down. It's something I can watch.
And it skews boy. So I think your boys will love it, and they'll pick up on the funny dialogue. They're old enough for it. It's really cute.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't do Disney anymore. I'm a grown woman, and I don't want to watch Jessie.
No, I can't do Jessie anymore.
The overacting, I just can't handle it. Plus, all these kids are going to fall off the deep end in 6 years when they turn like 19 and try to break away from their image. So anyhow, yes, I'm feeling you on that.
Okay, last thing I want to know. You already told me this summer you're writing a book.
I did. I am.
So are y'all doing anything else fun?
We're vacationing with you.
Yes.
To the beach. Our littles have never been to the beach, so they're outside of their minds.
It's going to be so fun.
You know what I'm worried about? Let's dog ear this for our future conversation, but I'm worried about sand in all their hair.
I'll tell you this much. You need to have Remy's hair in some braids.
No doubt.
Because it cannot be free.
Do you put a cap on Story's hair? Because I've heard that getting sand in their hair is as bad as getting lice.
We need to ask people. If you're listening to this and you are black or you have black children, we need to know. Because I don't know the answer to that. I do know this. If we go to a playground, I tell Story she will have to leave if she gets in a sandbox.
That's right.
I don't know if I'm scarring her for life, but we can't do sandboxes.
That's my point.
She did it once when she first came home, played in a sandbox, and I literally had to get the tube of the vacuum. Just get the sand out. It was not coming out. I mean, it was disastrous and scarring for everybody involved.
See, that is exactly what I'm talking about.
I had not thought about that until just this moment.
I'm just thinking we could solve it with a swim cap, right?
Oh yeah. I'm going to ask Gwen, my hair lady.
Yes, exactly. We go to the same place, as you know.
I'm going to ask Gwen and Star.
Yes, Gwen and Star will tell us what to do. We don't want to be picking up sand out of their hair with tweezers.
No.
Let's make this fun.
It's 4 days of too much.
That's our only family vacation this summer. The kids are super busy. They're all going to their camps and doing their things, and they're really funneling down into the kind of camps that they love, like photography and outdoorsmanship and all these like really fun things. Remy's doing gymnastics, and I'm going to Rwanda.
I know about that. So
that's a big
yes.
Boom. And then you know what else is happening, which and you're such a sweet, fun supporter of it, is we are re-releasing Interrupted this summer in July with a bunch of updated content. And this is my favorite book that I ever wrote that nobody read. And so it really kind of came right before 7. So like whatever sort of spiritual movement would have moved me into a 7 place, that's the story of Interrupted. Like Interrupted was like tilled up the ground spiritually for that. So that is coming out in July, and the show comes out July 24th.
July 24th. Set your DVRs, people. What's it called?
My Big Family Renovation.
Oh, I love it.
It's cute. It's really, really cute. So all that happens like in the same 2 weeks. Interrupted re-releases, and the show airs, and I go to Rwanda. So that's a little bit of a crazy little tear right there.
I've told you this personally a million times, but just if you're listening, if you have never read one of Jen's books, Interrupted. I mean, I've only read 3 of your books. I don't know how many you have, but Interrupted is by far, it's one of the top books I ever read. I read it in a season, the same season I read Shane Claiborne's book.
Yep.
A bunch of other books that were really challenging to me and eye-opening. And I think that's where you wrote that out of, is that
it was.
You were in that same season of what is this life that we're doing and all that kind of stuff. And so it's by far my favorite book you've ever written.
Thank you.
I could reread that one, and I don't reread books.
That is a good point. I mean, that's praise from Caesar right there. I wish you would reconsider your rereading policy. I am a rereader like crazy. like a crazy person. When I tell you I've read Tina Fey's book probably 6 times, that is no joke.
But here's
if you enjoyed it,
here's what
you
I'm
want to
thinking,
save the space for a new book. I get what you're saying.
You just listed 15 books that you recommend to me.
Yes.
I don't have time to reread a book.
I see what you're saying. You know what? Here's what it is. It's when you want to just reread a book that you have a lot of emotion to invest in it. You just, you know what? I want to read some of this because I know I'm going to laugh so hard because it was funny the first time. It's going to be funny the second time. And so, because sometimes you're reading a book and you just need to be like super focused. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to pick a book up and read 3 more chapters.
And some people tell me with books like Harry Potter is that they get new stuff out of it.
True.
Which I've never read any of those books, but
I haven't either. Has Caden?
No, he hasn't. I mean, we'll read them with him if he wants to. He hasn't expressed an interest. I think he's about getting to the time. I mean, he's 10.
Yep.
They intimidate me a little bit. Big books intimidate me. It's gosh. Our book club just did The Goldfinch.
I started reading that. What do you think of it?
Oh, I didn't start it. I got it in the mail. It's 800 pages. And I thought, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is.
So not that I can't read a book that long. It's super intimidating when I feel like the amount of time I get to read each day is so slim that I feel like I would be reading that through August is what it makes me feel like. So it gives me anxiety that I'll only be reading one book for 3 months. And that stresses me out.
I get that actually.
Do you like it? Because I've heard way mixed reviews.
You know what? I literally just pulled it up on my Kindle. I see on my Kindle that I have read 13% of it and I can't remember it.
That's a bad
thing. So I started and didn't finish, and I can't remember. Can you tell me what it's about real quick?
Oh, I don't know. I have nothing.
Oh, you know nothing.
I know nothing.
Okay. All right.
I know
the fact that I did not come home and just tear it up to finish it tells me that maybe it didn't sink in as much as I was hoping. But
it may go to half price books for me because I did buy that hard copy.
Wah, wah, wah. I mean, I have to be super compelled to buy hard copy.
Woo, I know, me too. Anyhow, Jen, so fun to have you on today.
Fun.
You are my second podcast.
Woo!
It was fun. We'll have to do this again.
It's too easy.
One more thing. I just had a question I was going to ask you. When you said Interrupt is being re-released, what does that look like in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, it's coming out with a different publisher.
Okay.
Who kind of came in and said, we think this book should get a strong second life.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
That's great.
Super, super, super. So it has a new cover. Brandon and I both wrote new forewords. And then I went through and just did a lot of revising and editing. I wrote it in the thick of a lot of spiritual upheaval. And now 5 years later, I feel like I've got a stronger perspective to lend to it at this point. So I could kind of go back in and see, that was arrogant, or like, that I didn't really know what I was talking about. Or this is actually how that bore out, and I could lend more credibility to it. So it's a stronger book now than it was when I first wrote it. The cover design is super cool, and it's coming out with Tyndale. So July something.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know it. Anyway, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, have a good day.
Well, enjoy your Monday. We're recording this on a Monday, and we've already said that Mondays are one of our favorite days.
Best. I mean, this is the best I am in the week. Everything is downhill from here.
Monday's a big catch-up day for me.
Same.
I just got to get a bunch of stuff done, and then we move on.
Totally. And then I take them all off my list, and then I'm awesome again. Like,
and then you're awesome. And I'm grocery shopping today, so I may be making those sandwiches for my kids tonight that you mentioned.
Sandwiches.
Or
Don't forget.
Pasta with some canned spaghetti sauce is about the best I can do when I'm solo parenting.
So, cut up some grapes.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, friend.
Jen,
have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.